We're living in a time where loneliness is higher than ever. Millions of people feel disconnected, unseen, and alone. But then there's you. You didn't feel abandoned. You stepped away. You saw their name on your phone, paused for a second, and chose silence. Not today. Not anymore. And the strange part is, you didn't feel empty after that decision. You felt calm, lighter, almost peaceful. So the real question is, when did this change happen? When did you become someone who walks away without explaining, without chasing, without looking back? Because you weren't always like this. There was a time when you were the one everyone depended on, the person who always answered calls, no matter the hour, the one who listened patiently, gave advice, stayed present even when you were exhausted. You carried conversations, fixed problems, absorbed emotions that weren't even yours, and you did it again and again, hoping something would change. But it didn't. People stayed the same. The patterns repeated. Until one day, something inside you shifted. You didn't answer, and nothing broke. In fact, everything got quieter. That moment wasn't weakness. It was your mind stepping in. Your brain did exactly what it was designed to do: protect you. In psychology, there's a concept that explains this. Your nervous system isn't just about keeping you alive physically. It also protects your mental and emotional energy. When you've been drained too many times, when your energy has been taken without being returned, your system doesn't ask for permission. It reacts. It pulls you back. It creates distance, not because you're broken, but because you've reached your limit. But this reaction didn't appear randomly. It has a history. For many people, this pattern starts much earlier than they realize. Maybe you grew up constantly reading people's moods, paying attention to tone, expressions, silence, learning that peace could disappear in seconds depending on someone else's emotions. You became aware before you even understood why, and slowly your mind connected closeness with unpredictability. So you adapted. You became more aware, more careful, more selective. You learned that sometimes distance feels safer than connection. And now, as an adult, that same pattern shows up again. Not because something is wrong with you, but because something once taught you to survive this way. But here's where things get complicated. There's a difference between protecting your peace and shutting the world out completely. Not every situation requires distance. Not every person deserves to be cut off. People often confuse boundaries with isolation, but they're not the same. Isolation pushes everyone away. Boundaries choose who stays. And your reaction tells you everything. If you walked away and felt relief, that's not loss, that's information. If distance gave you peace, that's not loneliness, that's your system telling you something was off. The real question isn't should you let people in. The real question is who actually deserves to be there. And deep down, you already know the answer. Because people who walk away like this don't do it randomly. They notice patterns, subtle ones. Over time, your brain becomes better at recognizing these signals. What others call overthinking is actually awareness. What others call being distant is actually discernment. You're not imagining things. You're reading what's already there. And when your mind senses that something will drain you, it doesn't argue anymore. It just steps back. So no, you're not antisocial. You're not cold. You're not disconnected. You're selective. And there's a big difference. People might call it loneliness because they don't understand it, but what you're experiencing isn't emptiness, it's space. There's a word for that. Not loneliness, but solitude. Loneliness is when you want connection and don't have it. Solitude is when you choose peace over noise. And right now, you're choosing peace. Others might think you're avoiding people, but in reality, you're moving towards something better, towards clarity, towards stability. That's not running away, that's moving forward. And if a part of you still wonders whether something is wrong with you, hear this clearly. There isn't. You didn't become distant for no reason. You learned, you observed, you experienced enough to realize that not everyone deserves your energy. And instead of becoming bitter, you became careful.
That's not weakness. That's strength most people don't talk about. Life isn't about having more people. It's about having the right ones. So if your circle is smaller now, but more peaceful, you didn't lose people. You found clarity. And that means you're not doing something wrong. You're finally doing something right.